So say goodnight to the bad guy.
You looking at the bad guy. This the last time that you ever see a bad guy like me. You don't have the guts to be who you wanna be.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Honor Among Thieves. Your guest, special host, Nelson Rodriguez Jr., author, creator, director, producer. You already know what it is. Everything under the sun. Today, I have two very special guests. Usually, I get one, but today, I'm lucky. I got two for the price of one. Lyle and Lonnie Jones. How you guys doing?
Good, man.
Doing good. Doing very well.
I appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to come through.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I checked you guys out on Ian's podcast. You guys were on a minute ago, so
Right.
it's cool. You got to see the new setup.
Yeah,
you know, you'll get to meet him later when he comes in. So
Okay.
how's keeping warm? I hope today is
It's
wild.
freezing out there right now. Man.
I'm way out of my element, man. I'm from Miami, so like I flew in and I was like, Lord.
Yeah, I know. I was living in Florida when we did the last interview. I was living in Florida at that time.
Oh yeah, what part?
Sunrise.
No way.
Yeah.
That's 40 minutes north of me.
yeah.
I'm in Miami.
Yeah, I was at
Okay.
Sunrise. Yeah.
Man, yeah, you came back here and like, man, I should have stayed.
When it comes to the weather, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So, my friends, you guys have a pretty cool story. You know, I'm all about stories here at the podcast. I love getting into different experiences with different people, you know, everything that goes down. So, where are you guys from originally?
Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Bridgeport. So you're from, okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
From
Okay.
Bridgeport, Connecticut.
All right.
Born and raised.
Born and raised.
Yeah.
All right. You guys got the same parents, same mom, same dad? Okay. What was it like growing up in Bridgeport?
Well, you know, with us, our household was, you know, mother, father.
Mm.
We got a younger sibling, you know, and everything was, you know, pretty much on the up and up. Like pops went to work, took care of the house. Mom, she was the nurturer, the cultivator, made sure we was good, went to school, meals cooked, you know what I'm saying? It was like more of a nurturing mom. Dad was the provider and the disciplinarian,
Okay.
stuff like that. So we grew up in a typically good
Like
household.
a traditional household. Okay.
Traditional household, you know what I'm saying? We played sports. You know, they was at all our games, supported us. So it was great growing up.
Are you the older brother?
No, he is.
You're the, okay.
Even though he looked older, but yeah.
Oh,
No, I'm the older. I have him by about 2 years.
Because I work more.
There you go. He's stressed.
Yeah.
He's stressed. Okay. All right. So walk me through kind of like elementary school, middle school. What are you guys into? You said you guys played sports? What sports?
Yeah. Well, basically, we played basketball. We played like basketball, baseball, but in our household, it was mainly basketball. We was a basketball family. Even my mom, she was into basketball, so we was a basketball family. Like I said, I was 2 years older than him, but so we close in age. So we always grew up like, you know, competing with one another in everything we did. You know, even in the household, you know, whether it's playing basketball, whether it's playing video games, we always competed against each other, you know, because we was around the same age. But we enjoyed, like, even in elementary school, we played basketball. Up until high school, I played basketball. Actually, I was very good at basketball. You know, I received a 4-year scholarship to New Hampshire. You know, I was Connecticut Player of the Year, 1990. You know, and he played for a local high school. And he was good. He also was good. Yeah. So basically, our household consists of, you know, a lot of basketball.
What made the family like a basketball family?
Well, how did that start? We really don't even know.
See,
right?
what happened was we grew up. We grew up in the projects. I can't say we grew up, but we was born in the projects. So a lot of our friends, and even though we moved out of the projects at
Ball was like the sport.
Was a sport, you know, because you
was
don't
cheap.
you don't need money you don't need money.
ball.
You don't need equipment. You don't need a glove.
Yeah,
All you need is basketball. You go to basketball court and you play all the time. You know, we didn't have money like that. So in my project that I grew up in, PT Barnum Housing Project, basketball was very big. So we grew up playing ball out there. Yeah.
I'm assuming it was pretty competitive amongst kids, like, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Very competitive.
With with us in Florida, it's a little different since most of us are Spanish kids. Baseball is
yeah.
big, huge. Like every Cuban kid, every Puerto Rican kid, Dominican kid, you play baseball.
Yeah.
Even if you don't keep playing baseball when you get older, you played baseball at some point when you were a kid. You know, that's like every Cuban father's dream to have his kid play ball, become a baseball player, all that. So.
Well, see, what Florida and Connecticut is different because
The weather.
the weather. Y'all can play baseball
all year round.
We're seasonal, so we play baseball. We pick up about April up until June or July. You know, so it's seasonal. So that's why it's so big in down south. Baseball is so big.
Are all the sports seasonal up here because of the weather?
Basically.
Okay.
I mean,
Except
basketball now
basketball
is
year-round.
year-round because you got indoor gyms.
Yeah,
and
but you got a lot of outdoor courts too, so it kind of forces you to. Okay.
Yeah, so it's year-round. But, like, how big basketball is for, like, blacks, well, even in white people nowadays in Connecticut up this way, is how football is for minorities, blacks in Florida. You know, they training from 4 and 5, you know, running hills and everything in Florida because football is super big out there. That's how basketball is up here now.
Okay.
It's like that, yeah.
Is there like a big, I know, is it called UConn? But that's like a female basketball. Is that a female basketball league? Like the
college,
University of
college.
Connecticut?
Nah, they just won a championship 2 years in a row.
Okay,
For men.
Oh, for men too. So
Yeah.
they're big. They're
You
big.
don't know nothing about
No,
basketball.
no,
Come on,
no.
man. You definitely a Florida.
No, I don't know anything about college. I know a little bit about NBA, and I know nothing about college basketball.
UConn just
so.
won the national championship last year, men's.
No,
Back to back.
Yeah, college basketball is not big in Miami. You know, we're like, we're super. You know, baseball.
Because Florida State ain't never won nothing. So yeah, it's Florida State and Florida. Yeah,
Football, of course.
yeah,
University
I'm
of
talking
Miami.
about
You know, that's a whole. Bro, they made 2 documentaries about that. That's like a whole the UM people that aren't from Miami that are like from Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach are like, yeah, the U. It's like, bro, you're not from Miami.
You can't say the University of Miami. You got to say the U. You know that.
Exactly. All right, so you're growing up. Basketball seems to be like the main sport, the main drive for everybody. What's it like growing up, elementary, middle school? Are you guys like staying out of trouble? You get good grades, get back. Like what's it like?
Yeah, we didn't get in any trouble.
Okay.
I mean, I was like a honor student in school.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I played ball. I was like.
So you played ball and you got really good grades.
Yeah, I got good grades.
You too?
I played ball. I had okay grades. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I lived by the motto back then: basketball, babes, and then books. You know what I'm saying?
Now we're talking. Triple B.
Triple B.
Yeah.
Not the big baller brand, the other big.
Okay. All right. So doing all right in school, staying out of trouble. So there's you guys just are basically focused on the basketball. That's like what you guys want to do.
You gotta understand, like, we had a father in our life.
Which is super important.
That is so
super
important to have a male figure, a father, your father in our life. And Pops wasn't going for none of that. He owned us. And if you see, as teenagers, man, you get your little attitude.
Yeah,
he gonna check he checking that
at the door.
No,
he
you checking that.
The door.
So I see now these young kids, how they talk to their parents and how they get away. Pops ain't going for none of that. Nah, he checking that. You smelling yourself now? All right.
I can relate to that because in my community, it's similar. Like Hispanic people, dad, you don't play that. You know, in our community, your dad just gives you a look. He's just like,
yeah.
And you're like, all right, no, I'm good. You know, so I totally get that. It's so important to have that male figure, that father figure. Like, it makes a huge difference, especially in a young boy's life.
Yeah,
like obviously it affects young women as well, but like to be a young kid, a young boy, and have a father there to like teach you right from wrong and keep you in check and keep your ego in check, because obviously as men our egos get out of control. So when you're a young kid and you're a teenager and you want to act reckless and he's like, yo, no, bro, that's good for us,
right?
Because I've seen many situations where because you don't have that male influence and that father figure, your own lack of like that guide to keep you in the right direction, it goes,
right.
Absolutely. It's unfortunate. And luckily I had my father in my life pretty much my whole life. He was in and out once my parents got divorced, but I thank God every day I know my father and I had a relationship with him, and he's taught me a lot of good lessons.
It's really a blessing, man.
Yeah, definitely. Because there's many people who never meet their father, so. Yeah. So that's good. You know, your father always kept you in check. You guys stayed out of trouble. So what's it like graduating? You're about to graduate high school. Guide me through that. What's going on?
Well, I graduated high school in 1990.
Okay.
I had a 4-year scholarship, like I said.
You look way younger than that. You guys do not look your age.
I had a 4-year scholarship to New Hampshire College.
New Hampshire. Okay.
So I went up there. I'm playing ball. I'm doing pretty good up there, you know. But it was a cultural difference for me. So I had a hard time adjusting because you know, like as far as demographics and stuff like that of that nature, it was like just the basketball team in New Hampshire at that time was black. Other than that, it wasn't. So me coming from Bridgeport, Connecticut, it was like a cultural shock. You understand? So I had a hard time dealing with that aspect. I love playing ball. I went to class, but it was cold. So I ended up leaving after about 2 years. I ended up leaving after he graduated high school. And me and him went to down south to North Carolina in 92.
All right,
we
North
went from
Carolina.
one extreme.
I went to one extreme to where it was.
Because I went to an HBCU.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And that was a cultural shock. Meaning, like, I never seen black people together have fun like that.
Like, so predominant. Yeah.
It was amazing. It blew me away. Because up here, the only one we have is Delaware State. Like in Connecticut, we don't have no HBCUs, right?
And 90, so you're talking 90, I was born in 92, by the way.
Oh, wow. That's when I graduated. It's 92.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is like when did MJ graduate from North Carolina? 86?
Yeah.
84.
So not that much longer, like a few years later. That's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
yeah.
Was that a big part of I would assume that's a big part of North Carolina, like MJ graduated from here and like, you know.
Actually, with the North Carolina, he went to North Carolina Central.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay,
which was
okay,
an
okay.
HBCU.
Got it. Okay.
MJ went to North Carolina.
North Carolina.
So
yeah,
he
yeah.
went to HBCU. That was
Okay.
right. Actually, it was probably about 20 minutes away from there.
Not
Chapel
even,
Hill.
yeah.
Okay,
Not
okay,
even. It's
okay,
right
okay.
there. It's
9
close by.
miles.
So we used to go party in Chapel Hill all the time, me
Okay.
and him. You know?
Yeah. He used to act like he went to UNC.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They thought I went to
Because he used to
North
play
Carolina.
ball.
I used to play
in
ball with Rasheed Wallace and Derek Williams and all of them.
Okay,
I used to play
okay.
ball with them, like pickup games and stuff. They thought I went to UNC, but I didn't.
Okay.
You know?
That's interesting. All right. Cool. So walk me through. All right. So you guys are going to college together.
Yeah.
Okay. So you ended up picking up as a junior? Or did you start?
Yeah, I was.
You transferred as a junior?
I transferred as a junior.
Okay.
I did 2 years up there, and then I transferred as a junior.
Yes. Okay, so you guys are going to college together.
Mhm.
Are you playing on the team together?
No.
We didn't play sports.
We didn't play sports then. We just went down there just to.
Just to do
Yeah.
your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew I wasn't going to the NBA. I'm getting my grades right. I'm gonna try to
Okay.
get a career, right?
Okay.
That's
Could you have played if you wanted to?
Yeah, but it was something with the transfer that it wasn't going through as smooth as we hoped it because
Yeah.
they was holding back my transcripts in New Hampshire
Okay.
and all with North Carolina Central, and so everything got delayed and I ended up not playing.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
How'd your folks feel about you guys not moving forward with basketball?
No, my parents wasn't, they would like to come see us play and
See you
stuff,
play.
but it wasn't, as long as we got good grades and stayed out of trouble, they supported us whatever we wanted to do.
Okay. Yeah, my mom was the same. She was like, listen, I got one rule. You get good grades, you can
Yeah,
do whatever you want.
That's
you know?
all.
Yeah, my mom was the same. So, all right. So, college, you graduate college 2 years later?
I never finished graduating.
Oh, you never finished?
No.
Okay. Did you?
Nope.
Okay.
No.
So, walk me through that.
I came home. I was the first one to come home. What happened was I didn't have any money down there. We college students.
Yeah, of
we're
course.
going down there, and I'm like, so I hollered at my father. He was the director at a halfway house in Bridgeport, Connecticut. So I hollered at him, and I'm like, Dad, I'm thinking about coming home, to get a job and stuff. He said, well, listen here, you come back, he'll give me a job at a halfway house, and but I had to promise him that I was going to come back to go to school. So I moved back to Connecticut. He gave me a job at a halfway house, and I was a counselor at a halfway house, and I went part-time to community college, Housatonic Community College, while I came back home.
Okay.
He stayed.
He stayed in North Carolina?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, how long did you stay? Like, how long were you guys apart?
Maybe that another year because I stayed 2 years down there. And then that summer I came up. I had intentions on going back, but I ended up getting a young lady pregnant with my first daughter. So being a man and gotta be responsible.
Of course.
I stayed there, got a job.
And again, the male figure, the father figure, You know, you were raised that way. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, you know, I know I got to take care of my responsibility. So that derailed that. And I had to stay up there. I chose to stay up there, and, you know, and be a father, you know.
Okay. Did you start working after that? Like to
Yeah,
support your family?
I started working at a health insurance company.
Okay.
You know.
That's my background.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, I started working at a health insurance company.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
called Oxford Health Plans back then. I don't know what it's called now, but
Okay.
yeah, I started working at a health insurance company.
Okay. So is that, so you came up for the summer, you didn't go back, you had a child, you started working. What are you doing at that time, around when that happens?
Around the time he came back, I was probably in the street at that time.
Oh, okay.
Right? I was in the street at that time. I already had transitioned over to doing the wrong thing.
Okay. So, all right. So walk me through. So you get the job at the halfway house.
Yep.
And then what happens from there?
From there, I'm working at a halfway house, and a friend of mine came home from prison. They just did a lot of time. A lot of time was like 8 years back. They did about 8 years, and he came home, and I used to hang with him all the time. And you know, but he was still dipping and dabbing in the street. But I'm good, you know. And I'm watching him. You know, we hang out, and I'm watching him collect money and do certain things and everything. So I'm learning everything. But I've removed myself from that. So I'm not doing none of that.
And you had never broken the law at this point?
Never broken the law. Never arrested anything. And I'm like 22 years old at the time. And he ended up going to jail
again. Of course.
He ended up going to jail again, quick, like a year and a half later after he got out. And when he went to jail, naive me, you know, seeing all the money, I end up, you know, taking over for him. And that's how that went.
Okay. All right. So that's how you ended up on the street doing.
So that's how I ended up on the street. Well, actually, like he told me, he was like, when I went to go see him in prison, you know, and he was like, he had all this money still, you know, people
stashed.
Yeah, people still owed him money. Not stashed, but people had
he had to
owed
collect
him
debts.
money. Because he didn't know he was going to jail. So he had just, you know, so he asked me, you know, he needed a lawyer, he needed this, you know, so he asked me, said, Speed, can you go and collect this money for me? And I said, okay, as a friend, I'll go do that. I went and collected the money and paid his lawyer. And then I went to give him the rest of the money. And he said, I said, what you want me to do with the rest of this? And he said, nah, keep it. I said, keep it. And once I kept that money.
How much money was it?
It was about what? About 20,000 or something.
And you're 22 years old?
25,000 or something like that.
22 years old?
22 years
That's
old.
a fortune, man.
You know what I'm saying? And now you're talking about, you know, a guy that I was getting $500 a week.
Working at the halfway house.
Working at the halfway house. You know, $500 a week working at the halfway house. And now it's like, I get this. So now, I know what he's doing now. I know what he's doing to get this money. And so.
He was a drug dealer?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was selling drugs.
Okay.
Yep, he was selling drugs.
This is the early 90s?
Mid-90s.
Mid-90s?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm assuming because of the era it was like cocaine, that kind of stuff?
Crack.
Heroin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Heroin, crack and heroin.
So crack was still like prevalent after the 80s, after the regular.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's going through that. What's going on with you at that point? You had your daughter, right?
Yeah, I'm working. And
Okay.
then when I find out that he doing it, like, you know, me and him, we go at it with each other. Like, I'm telling him, like,
you're trying to get him away from that.
Yeah, because yo, we know. I mean, we have family members that went through that stuff before, and they
friends that went to prison.
Right. So, you know, I'm getting on. I'm like, yo, we know, man. Moms and pops, man, they work hard to keep us away from that.
Yeah,
you tripping? You know what I'm saying? So I would go on them because I'm working. You know what I'm saying? But once that money start coming in, you know, you can't tell nobody anything, right?
Can't tell me nothing.
Once you see the money coming in, let me tell you.
So like he was like, yeah, I know, man, but he continued to do it. Yo, man, pops, yo, come on, man. Yeah, I know. Keep it. But I'm hanging around him. You know what I'm saying? And like, I'm the little brother. You know what I'm saying? He got it now. He got what they call it, the bag now. He got the bag.
He got the bag.
Right? So, and I'm that little seed getting planted, that evil seed getting planted, and I'm seeing it.
And you feel it too, boy, when you're like, oh man, this ain't right, but damn, I want some of that. I know exactly how you feel.
Yeah.
So, okay. So you try to get him away from it. You see how much money's coming in, and then you kind of get influenced. Is there ever a conversation between you guys where you're basically like, all right, look, bro, like, what's up? What's going on? Like, how do I get in this?
Nah.
No?
Because I I didn't even think about getting in the street.
Okay.
But what I mean by the seed was planted mean like, you're the devil patient. He'll wait on, he'll plant the seed and be like, all right, I'll find a way to get him. You know what I'm saying? But the seed was planted because I was hanging around it. I seen things, you know what I'm saying? I seen like, so if things get tight, I already had that in the back of my mind. I know how to get this. But that ain't how it started though. It's like once he went to jail, he ended up getting arrested.
I get arrested. I get arrested in Manhattan.
How long does it take for you to get arrested after you start like hitting the street and hustling?
About a year and some change.
Damn, it happened pretty fast.
Fast.
Okay.
Fast.
And you get busted in Manhattan, not in Connecticut.
No.
Okay.
I get busted in Manhattan with like 250 grams or something like that.
Okay.
And I make bond. I come home, and I was out for like maybe 4 or 5 months.
Okay.
And and so I'm back home. I'm stacking as much money as possible because I know I have to go to jail for about a year. And they promised me like a 6-month shock program. I don't know. It's like a military program. I end up getting kicked out of that. So I end up doing, it's like a boot camp. If you finish the boot camp, you do 6 months. So, I just stacked as much money as possible. And, and I end up going to jail in 96, 95, 96.
96.
I ended up getting a 1 to 3. I got a 1 to 3.
Okay.
State
prison?
It's, state prison, New York. Yeah, New York. So I go to Rikers Island. When I get sentenced, I go to Rikers Island. After Rikers Island, they send me up north. They call up north. They send me to the shock program. I get kicked out of there. I end up going to Cayuga. Or I know I go to Auburn, then I go to Cayuga. Cayuga was like a medium. And then I come home.
All right. And how much time total did you do?
In New York?
Yeah. No, like all together until you got back out, like until
in New York. Yeah, I did a year.
A year.
I did about a year.
Okay.
Yeah, I did a year.
So during that year, once he gets busted, tell me about you. Like what's
So, I'm working. I got one daughter.
Yeah.
Then I got another daughter coming.
Okay.
So now money tight. So I know bro put some money up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I know you put some money up. So I'm coming to him like, I need to borrow some money for something. I'm throwing him some excuse. I can't remember what it was, but but in the back of my mind, it's like, yo, I'm
late on rent or something.
I know how to make something happen. You know what I'm saying? I got some men that's knee deep. They can show me, whatever
Show
I
me the
got.
game.
Yeah. So, that's how that started. You know what I'm saying? I went and
Let's be clear. I was skeptical about.
He didn't want to give me the money.
He didn't give me money.
I'm like,
yo, you got to understand something. I had a year. I had 1 year. So I had stacked all my money. I stacked all this over $100,000. I stacked this money, and I'm not. I don't want to tell him where it's at because ain't no telling what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I got a couple months before I get home where he came and he hollered at me. He came to see me at. I was in Cayuga in a visitor room.
Is that by Fish Scale? Which one was by Fish Scale?
Fish Scale was when I was on work release. Okay. It's farther up next to
I had to drive,
up there by Syracuse. It was up by Syracuse.
Upstate New York.
Upstate New York, yeah. And he came to see me, he gave me a whole spiel, and I was skeptical about giving him. And I'm like, man, I only got a couple months to come home. Let me get to my money if I give it to him. And I end up telling him, he's my brother. You know what I'm saying? But I'm telling him, listen, you get that money, put this over here.
Just take this.
Just take what you need and put the rest over here. And then give my money. And I don't hear from him.
Oof.
For about 90 days till I come home.
Uh-oh.
I'm calling.
So, all right, so let me get the other side of the story. So he tells you where the money is.
Right.
All right, so what happens after that?
So he tell me where the money is. So, now I make a couple calls, boom, boom. Like, yo, I need to do a little 1-2, man. I need some help, man. I ain't never been in the street like that. You know what I'm saying? But
you got some money to
I got some money, and I know some people.
Yeah.
And we got the project because we from there. You know what I'm saying? I got a whole project. It's $1 million project. You know what I'm saying? And I was always the brains. You know what I'm saying? I was always the brains. So I'm going to think like, yo, all right, let me figure this out.
You're trying to turn this into an operation.
Yeah, and not really. I just wanted to make enough money.
Right.
But the plan that I put in motion turned into a whole operation, right? I wasn't even expecting it to do what it did, right? But that's another part.
And at this point, you're not even concerned that he's coming home in 90 days. You're just like, all right, I got some cash. I'm going to...
It might have been a little longer than 90 days.
No, it was
But because
Man, it was about,
I was
maybe about 3-4 months.
because I was
3-4
taking
months.
I was taking some losses, right?
I only
in the
had a
beginning,
year.
right?
Oh, okay.
I was taking some losses. That's why I ain't answering the phone. He called me like, yo. I'm like, man, listen, man. The joker's running off. They beating me.
I got this. I'm gonna flip this money. I'll call him when I got it back.
See, I was still trying to work and hustle.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to leave work out with people. And then I'm going to work. And I'm working from maybe like 8 to 4, 8 to 3.
You got like a 9 to 5 or whatever.
Yeah, basically, you know what I'm saying? I'm driving way from Norwalk, you know, in traffic, getting home, and come out there, stuff ain't right. You know what I'm saying? So I had to, you know, make a choice. You know what I'm saying? Either you're gonna do this or do that. So I chose to be in the street full time. But in the process of me going through that, you know, people running off, people beating me because they know like they know like, you know what I'm saying, trying to run game on me and all that. They try to do all that, right? But I figured it out. And when I figured it out, you know what I'm saying, that's when
the money came in.
Yeah, that's when. Yeah.
Is he still away or does he come back?
No, he was away when I figured it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
He figured it out.
He was away.
So your brother gets home and you're like, yo, we gotta talk.
Tell him, say
he knew already. He knew.
Nah, he didn't know.
No, okay.
I didn't know. They picked me up from him, my father, and my brother. My brother's young, and they picked me up in a rented car at 100 Center Street in New York. That's where they release. The bus comes and drops you off there from upstate New York.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm mad that my father's in the car because now I can't. Yo, where my money at? I'm mad. So I'm like, I sit in the back seat. I'm like, hey, I get, you know, fake hugs and all that type stuff. I sit in the back seat with my little brother. You know, he's driving, you know, and I see all these big diamond earrings, right? R. Kelly ain't had nothing on him. His earrings ain't had nothing on his earring. He had a Rolex. So I'm like, yo, look at this.
Look at this guy.
This is where all my money
He spent all my money.
Right? And he in a rented car. You know, I'm like, come on, you in a rented car, you got all this. Where's your car at? So I'm back there fuming. I'm pissed. You know, so we get back to Connecticut. We drop my father off and my brother off.
Okay.
You know, and he's like, so sooner we get, he's like, just calm down. He said, just calm down. Just calm down. So he takes me, he wants to take me to buy a motorcycle. Right? He buys me a motorcycle.
It was like May, right? So the weather was breaking.
I came home in May. So the weather was breaking. He was going to buy him a motorcycle. So he's like, you want a No, I don't want a motorcycle. I want my money. Where's my money at? You know what I'm saying?
He wouldn't take that motorcycle though.
Definitely take the motorcycle. So when we go to this apartment building where he was at, where he had all his money and everything, and I go in there and I see all this money that he must have been counting the night before or whatever. I don't know where, it's just all this money on the floor. And I'm like, man. And he throws me my money. He's like, all the money that he owed me, yeah.
Plus whatever he borrowed, right? Like he gave you the whole...
No. He just gave me my money.
Right,
he bought me a motorcycle and gave me the money that he owed me.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like, plus what he owed you.
Yeah, everything that he owed me, he gave me. He gave it back.
I owed him the whole thing. I took it all.
So he and I'm like, man. I said, how long it took you to get this? Like, because when I was in the street, right, it took me. I thought I was doing something.
Right.
I was making about $50,000 a week, and I really thought I was doing
Woo! Something. What?
That's nothing. Trust me when I tell you. And
$50,000 a week was nothing.
And it's not. No, it was something to me.
To you at the time.
At the time, but when you say $50,000 to somebody from my projects, from where I grew up, see, and a lot of people can't even picture that. See, I hear people say, "Man, you wasn't," and I'm saying you have to know, because a lot of people think Connecticut. They be like, "Man, Connecticut." They think white people. Mm-hmm. They don't understand Bridgeport, Connecticut.
They don't.
They really don't understand Bridgeport and the project that I grew up in. I mean, we seen guys make millions and millions of dollars.
Wow.
Coming out of this project. I'm telling you.
In the crack era, yeah.
Yeah. So what I was doing, I wasn't even the top drug dealer in my project at the time. And I was making about $50,000 a week. You know? And that's nothing.
How much is profit? Like, because I know you have to re-up. How much of that is profit?
And that's where people get they be like, oh, you was making 50.
Yeah.
I probably profit maybe 15 to 20,000, if that.
I mean, it's $20,000
that's
a week.
Profit.
It's $20,000 a week.
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, 15 to 20, but you make about 50, but you probably profit about 15 to 20.
Right.
Considering if nobody goes to jail, if they don't raid, if they don't shut your block down. So you have your ups and downs around that time, but it came out at an average about 50 a week.
Okay.
You know, so when I'm seeing all this money, I'm like, and it's like 80,000 on the floor. He counted 8. I said, yo, how long it took y'all to do this? A week? 2 weeks? He laughed, and he just kept laughing and laughing and laughing. He said, that was today.
80 grand in a
That was
day.
today. Well, yes, the day before.
The day
Yesterday.
before.
He was counting it today, though. It was from the previous day. And I said, what? So for me, I didn't believe him. I'm like, he trying to put a 10 out of 2. You know, that's my brother. He trying to put a 10 out of 2 to show that he was doing way more than what I was doing. Right?
So wait, hold on. So you were making 50 grand a week. You had gotten a rhythm of hustling.
Yeah.
And you were kind of doing your thing, and you were making 50 grand a week, profiting 15 to 20. You started from scratch 4 months before he got out, and you were making that more than that in a day?
A day. And let me explain something to you, though. See, with me, I was hands-on, and I'll open up like 5 o'clock in the morning, and then probably about 5, 6 o'clock at night, I shut down.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? When I came home, he had 3 shifts in rotation. They took no days off. So this is why he said
it was a 7-11.
So he didn't shut down. He didn't shut down on Sundays. He didn't shut down on holidays. It was none of that.
Wow.
It could be a snowstorm.
You out there.
out there.
And that was the thing.
Street.
So he had, when I came home, me, I just, I go get somebody that used drugs or something like that, and I sit there and watch him sell for me all day, and when I just watched him.
Right.
When I came out there, he had young boys in play.
It's a whole team.
A whole team in play. Lieutenants and this. It was structured. You understand what I'm saying? So it was different. It was nonstop. So now it makes sense why he was doing 80
making so
a
much
day.
money, yeah.
I used to shut down. And then sometimes I got to take breaks. I got to go in the house for a minute and all that. His thing was moving. He didn't have to be there. So it was moving.
So what gave you the idea to structure it that way? Like, was it off rip? Kind of, you were already thinking, man, he was 2 hands off. Maybe I should do this differently.
No.
What kind of made you have
really,
that thought
like,
process?
Trial and error at first, right? Me going there trying to, like I tell you, I was working, trying to hustle, whatever.
Right.
And just getting in, just looking at the times and seeing like the peak times of people coming at. I mean, the criminal mind is something,
It's
right?
amazing.
You know what I'm saying? So you looking at the
fascinating.
peak time. So you trying to see like, all right, they come for this around 4 or 5 in the morning. They come for this around 5 in the afternoon.
Right.
We're gonna have all this nonstop. Let's see how that works. Because everybody, like, even like the guys that was making a lot of money in my project before us, they never did like a 24-hour. And then some of the dudes that was out there, the young boys out there, they make a little money to go in the house. I had a team and I held them accountable. Like, yo, don't leave your spot. You a lieutenant, you ain't got to hustle, but man, have somebody in play.
Right.
I don't care if it's 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, somebody need to be here. You know what I'm saying? Have somebody looking out, it's structured like that.
Right.
And once you seen the money coming in, you see like, oh, that's why we got to keep it like this. You got to keep it like this. You know what I'm saying? So you never stop. So,
Man, that's I'm so impressed. That's like crazy.
It was crazy for me to see that.
I could
And
imagine.
when I came home and I seen this play in motion, and I seen all these guys coming, and mind you, when I came home, in the back of my mind, I'm not doing anything. I told him, I
You're
said,
done.
listen, I'm done.
I just want my money and I'm gonna go live my life.
I did a year. That year felt like 10 years. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I worked all my life. I wasn't no street dude all my life. I worked all my life. So I know how to, I got over $100,000. I'm going to get me a job. I had a son at the time. I had 2 sons at the time.
You got some money put away.
I had some money put away. He even gave me a car. So I had a motorcycle, a car, and I had over $100,000. Let me go get a job. I'm good. But I'm hanging with him. This is like my best friend.
Right, of course.
So I'm hanging with him. So, and so me and him would ride through. He had bought a 740 BMW. He'd come through,
So you gotta understand, like, hanging with me was a different type of hanging now.
Yeah.
He used to hang with me.
You know what I'm saying?
It
was a different type of hanging now.
It flipped,
Man,
it
listen,
You know
flipped.
what I'm saying? Like, we in casinos wilding now. We had ball games where we had fights. We living the life.
Like Nino
Listen.
Brown in New Jack City.
He had a $500,000 a week, $500,000 a week limit with the bookies out of Massachusetts. That's how much money, $500,000 limit. He can bet up to $500,000. I'm like $500,000. $500,000 a week with the bookies. He like, we gambling. We go to casinos. We went to Vegas. He dropped $10,000 in an hour. He like at New York. He
one of them,
had to call his wife and tell him, yo, send me some more money. Like, and I'm saying, yo, but that's so hanging with him was different. So I'm seeing this and I'm like, man, but I'm chilling for about 2-3 weeks.
Right.
And then I come to him.
It lasted long.
Then I come to him, like I said, he came, he had bought his BMW and we riding around. He come through, it had the rims on it. Everybody like, oh, he's shining. You know what I mean? I'm used to being the one that shine.
Right.
So I told him, I said, listen, I'm back. I'm back.
So at this point, so let me ask you the same question. After your re-up, so 80 grand a day was like what you were making? Or
At that time, it increased later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So around the time he just says, he's like, yo, I'm back. What are you making and what's your profit after re-up?
Weekly or daily?
Daily.
Daily, if I calculated daily, profit could have been probably maybe about, at our peak, probably like 45,000, 50,000.
See, it fluctuates though. Because
Right,
you got to
right.
tell you, like I said, you have things that happen.
Yeah, you have
Throughout
raids,
that week,
people,
even though you
people
might
try to rob you.
even though you might
Yeah.
make 80,000, you might have somebody that get busted and you pay for them to get out on bond.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? You
Then
might
they lose
make
a stash. Yeah.
No question, things happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You might have got some bad work.
See,
You know,
anybody
they sell
that
you
know
some-
business knows you got gross.
Yeah.
Gross
Net.
revenue is one thing.
Net
Right?
profit
Net
is
is
another.
So I'm
thing.
moving a lot of product.
Yeah,
But I got an overhead also.
of course.
I got lieutenants I got to pay.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? I got women I deal with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's definitely part of the
You know what I'm
expenses.
saying? I got gambling, you know? So it comes with the territory,
Right,
right? You know what I'm
right.
saying? I hope I don't get in trouble. But yeah, it comes with the territory.
Yeah, but if we're talking, it fluctuates. But let's say on average 50 grand a day.
Yeah, that's easy. That's a conservative amount. Like
We're
we
talking
putting up.
that's 1.5 million a month.
Yeah.
A month.
But
Cash
like you
money.
said, cash money, but you like I said,
Fast money.
you don't see 1 point something million. Even
Fast
though you
money.
might make
I mean, you're gonna put
50,000,
up money, but you
Yeah.
spending
you
like
spending
crazy.
like crazy.
Yeah.
Because the more money you make, the
more you
greater
spend.
your habits become.
Fast money.
The greater your habits become.
Easy
Like
money
it was
in,
nothing
easy
for
money
us to lose $5,000 to $10,000 at a dice game. It was
They
nothing
were
for us to do.
regular people.
No,
Like,
but regular people. I know young boys who started the dice game with $500 and they get me for $5,000-$10,000 and they go buy half a key and get on. So I stopped that. We stopped that.
I said, you putting people on.
Yeah.
man.
So if you didn't have,
It's our competition.
listen, we used to call it Big Willie games. If you didn't come there with $5,000 to $10,000 starting out, you're not
out.
shooting no more dice
You're out.
because it was young boys. Then they started getting money. We done helped them get on. So that was dead.
Can't supply the competition.
Nah.
Yeah. All right. So 2 to 3 weeks pass by, and you're like, yo, I'm back.
I'm back.
All right. So tell me about that.
But like when I tried to get him when he first came home, I'm like, yo, this ours, man. He's like, nah, I'm good. Right. So then once he said he was back, I was like, yo, all right, half of this is yours.
But he told me, wait till this is finished.
Oh yeah, because I already had it was
He said, wait till I finish this last
re-up.
little
Okay,
when I re-up, when we
It's
re-up,
ours,
then
yeah.
we
It's
go.
half.
Yeah.
because all that was accounted for already.
Okay. So what was the difference in like having the full operation by yourself and then bringing him in? What was the main difference that you saw?
See, him, he led a life, right?
Yeah, I let it like.
He loved the fame and all that. See, me, I'm like, I don't really care too much about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he was the dude. I'm a fall back.
Yeah.
Ah,
I'm a
okay,
fall
okay.
back.
So
okay.
I was always
You were the
like
face.
the flamboyant one.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was more low key.
Okay.
Like I like to stay on the block and watch my money get made. Watch the girls come through and
Okay,
everything.
okay.
He won't be around a lot
I'll
of
be
times.
in Miami.
Yeah, he like
I'll
that.
be flamboyant
I'm
in
not
Miami.
I'm not taking no trips. I got to watch my money. I got to be out here. You
I
know,
got you.
like he had expensive cars. He only drove them on the weekend. I said I'm not spending $100,000 for a car to only drive it on the weekend.
Yeah,
That's not me. You know what I'm saying? If I buy a Rolex, I'm wearing it every day.
Every day.
I'm not wearing it for on a week. I'm not spending all this money to wear stuff
100%.
occasionally.
Yeah.
But that's how he was. He was a little ahead of his time as far as thinking. He was mature.
Right.
He was a lot mature than I was when we was in the street.
Right.
Me, I wanted to have fun. I go to clubs, I'm throwing money out there. He's like, yo, why you throwing all that money if you crazy?
Loco.
He's throwing that, like, you know what I'm saying? But this
Buy
is
the
how we
bars
do.
out and all that. Man, come on.
Buy the
man.
bars out and all that. He didn't like that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, I'm the big brother. I'm gonna do what I want to do.
It wasn't that. I just know that when you do it, when you from, is a lot of jealousy.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? It becomes, you know,
say
jealousy,
that
and then
again.
that breeds a lot of hatred towards. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, nah, I ain't doing all that.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right. So he comes in. He becomes more like the face. People see him out there.
Yeah.
You're kind of doing your thing on the side. What year is this?
This is 98?
98.
Yeah.
Okay.
97, 98. Yeah.
All right. So 98. You guys go into business together. Obviously, I would assume because you're doing this together now, the money multiplies, right? Like we're talking about.
No, it's about the same.
No,
It's about the
It's
same.
about the same? Okay,
That's
okay.
why I said. That's why I respect his, his decision to actually let me come back in because now he's taking a pay cut.
Okay.
You feel me? But he got started with what I had.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
the start. So
it's fair.
So
Yeah,
it's
I
fair. So,
wasn't
but
tripping.
he was actually taking a pay cut. So all that he was making before, now he got to split it in half with me.
Then you gotta think, like, this is my brother, right? So I'm never gonna let him be without. He got kids and everything. So
Yeah.
if he's on, he can take care of his family. I ain't gotta do it because I'm gonna do it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So we eat together. And that's how we are today. Like, we eat together.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? When we eat, everybody eats.
Yeah.
The family eats.
100%.
You know, that's how we are.
So once you brought him in, it was like, I'm going to take care of him anyway. So this is.
Yeah, we're gonna make sure you straight anyway. So
Yeah. Okay.
it's yours. We ain't tripping.
Do you guys become notorious at this point in Bridgeport? Like, where this is ours, like Bridgeport is ours, that kind of thing? Did you have competition? Like,
It was
what was
competition.
it? Okay.
That was competition. We didn't like we from a project, right?
Right.
Where you probably had 20 other drug dealers.
Mm.
20 other, you know what I'm saying?
But of
we
your
had-
magnitude?
No.
Okay.
You might have one or two of our magnitude, a crew
Right.
that was out there at that time.
But
of
like
our
small time
magnitude.
guys, yeah.
Yeah, of our magnitude. And we developed such a team. It was a team that was they some of them was feared.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And it was, so we held it down for a while.
You gotta say, like, we didn't just have the project. Most of our money came from the project. We had
Other spots.
spots throughout the city.
Mm.
Yeah.
People didn't even know they were our spots.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But
Okay.
they were our spots.
Right.
You use other people as the face. You use other people as the face, but we was, say, for example, you're from another project, right? I just can't come in there and try to take over.
So you approach me as like a
You
small
my
time.
man, you my man. Listen, I got this for you, man. This is you. Boom. So now you the face of it, but people don't know that it's really
It's
me.
really yours. Yeah.
Yeah, so.
And he's basically like your lieutenant running.
Exactly,
Okay.
but he's
And
getting paid a little bit
that
more.
saved a lot of people because they never got caught up.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? That saved a lot of people. They never
Yeah.
got caught up with us.
yeah.
So
Right.
Because they only thought our base was PT Barnum
Was
Housing
PT Barnum.
Project.
Okay.
All
right. At this point, how many projects like can you get to run at once? Like how many spots do you have?
We had about 4 in rotation.
4.
We had 2 side streets and about 2 projects.
Mm.
Yeah, we had 2 projects and like 2 major side streets.
Okay.
Yeah. And see, the side streets was good because the side streets, like me and him had a side street where we did a lot of money on the side street. See, in the projects, you got to make your product so big because it's competition.
But not
So
in
you
that
got to
way.
flip it. So for example, if you buy a key for $20,000,
Right.
we might do a key a day, but we're only making $28,000 off the whole key because we got to make it so big and it's so the flip is got to be quick and it's a quick flip. Whereas me and him had a side street and we buy a key, we making $50,000 off that key because we're the only competition. We're the only person on that build in that spot.
Right.
You understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah.
So when me and him got other spots, that's when it really
It blew out of
it took off. Like we were seeing money that was crazy.
was unheard of.
Yeah.
Okay. Were you guys the first ones to think of that in Bridgeport?
No.
Or did other people already have that going?
Like we had uncles and stuff we had older people in our family that used to hustle,
Okay.
that used to do things. You know what I'm saying? So like my brother said, he'd look at them, incorporate what they did, but put his own spin on it.
Mm.
So you say, okay, that's what they was doing. That's a good idea. But if they did it like this, And what he did, it just took off, you know? And like he said, we was thinkers though. Like we went to college. Like he was a accounting major. I was an accounting major. And I minored in marketing. So we knew. Now this is what we did. So you take a regular guy who didn't have parents, who didn't finish the 5th, 6th grade. All they out there is hustling. They hustling. They know how to get money. Boom. That's it. You try to use their force to get it, and that's it. With us, we sat back. We thought, listen, let's do this. Why don't we try this? You know, and that's it. And it worked.
It worked well from the sound of it.
Yeah,
Okay, so this is 98 still?
98.
98.
99.
All right. So how long until, because I want to take this 2 directions. One, was there ever, did you ever push into somebody's territory and have issues with other crews? Anything like that? Did anything, as you started growing, right? Was there, I would assume somebody already had kind of other territories and stuff. Like, did anything like that ever happen?
See, the thing is, like, not in our project.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because it was respect. They and then they know we had a massive team that ain't gonna go for it. Ain't going for it. Right. But the other spots we had, they didn't know they were ours. So some people ran in trouble there. You know what I'm saying? And then
for an example, we might get a side street, right? You know, we got set up shop in a side street. Be a guy. Now, if a guy is 3 blocks away, right, and he's used to doing 20, 30,000 a day, and all of a sudden he say, man, why has it been slow for the last week? But he find out a block. Some guys opened up over there.
50,000 a day.
Even though we're not stepping on his toes per se on his block, his money is slowing up because we're in his area.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So then they try to step, and then you have to come a different way or whatever, and make sure that they don't ever come and try to check you about selling on that block again.
Was there ever like a sit down, like a boss would approach you guys and be like, hey, listen, dog, like
No.
Nothing like that?
No.
So how would those drug dealers like approach, like, or would they test your dealer, like, because it was a side street, so they don't know it's you. They think it's another man. So what would happen like in that situation?
So they might come. Sometimes they might come and spray the block up.
Yeah.
Shit.
You know what I'm saying? And then we'll find out who it was, and then we go talk to him.
Damn. Okay.
But that's it.
You guys were pretty grown about it.
Yeah, we're gonna talk to him.
No, what happens is once they come and do, or they might rob. They might send some stick-up boys to come and run up in there and rob, and they keep doing it. And then we find out who it is. Let's just say that it never happens again.
Okay.
And some people like we knew, like we go talk. Really go talk to them. Like listen, man, that's us over there.
That's us over there.
Oh, we didn't know it was y'all, man.
Okay.
Respect. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But then some people they didn't care.
Was that more of just kind of like you had built a reputation at that point, or was that because that was like the code of that street?
We had a reputation.
We had a reputation.
So it's fair to say you were the biggest, if not one of the biggest players.
One of them. Yeah. We was.
Okay.
We was one of the biggest.
Was there ever a moment where someone was trying to kind of like come take the crown? Did anything like that ever happen?
No.
You were big enough to where other people stayed. They were like, all right, yeah, that's
no question.
That's the brother spot. I'm not.
Yeah, they not.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, you get some young kids that don't know no better.
Nah, but see, said the dudes, the cowards, they put the young kids up to it.
Right.
The older, they scared to come to you, so they put the young kids up to there.
Who don't know no better? Who don't know who you are, and none of that. So.
Okay. All right. So that was the one question. Now here's the separate. What about police and cops? Like, is there any like cops you have to like cut in on the deal to stay away from them and let you do your thing, or is it like straight cops who are just coming after you and like they're just trying to take you down by any means?
Back then, we wasn't mixing. I ain't putting no cops on the payroll. Nothing.
Right.
We staying away from cops. You know what I'm saying?
Back then, cops didn't really mess with the projects like that.
No, they did.
No, they did.
Okay.
They definitely did.
Okay.
You got to understand the project where I'm from and where we was at it's in the middle.
Okay.
Right? So it's entrances on both ends. So it takes them probably about a minute to get there.
Right.
From both ends.
In a minute.
It's hard for them to actually catch people in there.
Right.
Because they got to come through 2 entrances. So you already know when they coming, people got people on each corner like, yo, they coming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what they used to do is they'd sneak in, undercover sneak in, and they go up in an abandoned apartment, and they be up there filming. And as the fiends leave, as the people that use drugs, as they leave, they arrest them. And then they arrest the people that's selling drugs. They just be up there watching the whole time.
Right.
And see, this is how they used to catch us and all. Well, catch, our block, people on our block and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, but cops at this point have only been able to get the lower level guys. You guys obviously bond them out, take care of your people, that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it sounds like besides like regular police activity, you guys don't really have like a case against you at this point, right? No. Like business is pretty good. Occasionally you got to bond somebody out. You got to take care of some business with some competition. But that's business as usual. If you're a drug dealer of that magnitude in the crack game at that time, that just sounds like stuff you got to deal with anyway. It doesn't sound like anything crazy. Do you ever get wind of anything as far as like someone trying to warn you, yo, there's a case, people are coming after you, anything like that? No, never? Or
no, they should say that, well, you talking about as far as the police, right?
Yeah.
I mean, with the feds.
Towards the end of 99, the end of 99, we started hearing the whispers like, yo,
the feds are coming.
One of the narcs, we call them narcs, like a narc, he came through.
DEA?
Like, it was a city narc. Okay. He came through and was telling people like, Jones boys graduated. We can't touch him now.
Oh shit. Okay.
I'm like, yo, what do you mean by that?
We never knew what he meant by that.
Oh, you don't know? Oh shit. I can pick up on it immediately.
So, and that was
Alphabet Boys picked up that case.
Summer, we made so much money, they didn't bother us.
Oof.
We made so much money that summer,
They're
man.
not even trying to take down the
usually
lower
they
level
hit
guys.
the block. They wasn't hitting them.
They had park on the block. They left us alone. I'm like, man.
Yeah, that reeks of feds. Yeah. They're just watching you guys.
You know, that was the year Jay-Z came out with that Hard Knock Life and all that. Yo, we was eating good, right? Money ain't a thing, right?
Was that Big Pimpin' with UGK and all that?
No, it was like money ain't a thing and all that.
Okay.
You know yeah, that was our slogan.
That summer you make more money than ever because the cops aren't even messing with you.
It was something different, right?
That's crazy.
But we felt it though. We felt it like, yo,
because
something's wrong.
They used to follow me.
All right, guys, taking a quick break from the podcast to talk to you about Gus Villa Jewelry. Yo, let's be real here for a second. If you're rocking plain jewelry in Miami, of all places, you are doing it 100% wrong, my boy. Step your game up with Gus Villa Jewelry, the plug for real Cuban link gold and silver chains. And, of course, the cleanest Rolexes in all of Miami. This isn't factory made or watered down or any of that stuff. This is high quality, custom, handmade stuff that shines from here to the moon. It turns heads, starts conversations, and makes you look fresh. Gus has something that'll level up your whole vibe. And because you're locked in here with us at Honor Among Thieves podcast, you're getting a hookup. Use the promo code Montana at checkout. Get 5% off your entire order. That's right, 5% off. Go check them out at GusVillaJewelry.com or pull up on them in the Diamond District down here in downtown Miami. GusVillaJewelry.com. Again, that's GusVillaJewelry.com. And tell them your boy Montana sent you. Gus Villa Jewelry. Now back to the podcast.
They used to follow us. They'd follow me. And when they stopped caring, the feds, when they didn't care if we seen them. So in my mind, I don't know how the feds work. So what I'm saying, okay.
You've never dealt with them, yeah.
Nah, so I don't know that they're just watching, making sure I don't leave town because they're getting ready to indict us. So what they're doing is, that's what they're doing. So I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm chilling. You ain't got to worry about me doing nothing. I go to my mother's house, they down the street. I go pick up my kids, they're down the street. I go pick up here, and they're watching me. So I'm saying, man, they on my line, man. I said, I ain't doing nothing. I'm good. But the whole time, they already was trying to build a case.
Build a case.
They was getting ready to come anyway. You know, so.
Oof. What, do you guys ever talk to each other about, yo, some feds are down my block? Yo, I saw some feds. Does that happen?
Yeah, all the time.
And then he's like, well, yeah, me too. Like,
yeah.
But we knew they was gonna come, but we thought they couldn't get us because we wasn't doing
nothing.
You know what I'm saying? We didn't know about what the conspiracy and people just telling.
Testimony.
We didn't know about that. So like, yo,
evidence.
we got. What they gonna get us for?
As long as they don't got me with drugs, as long as they didn't catch me with no money.
The feds play a different game.
Yeah, they play a different game. So You know, we didn't know.
Testimony.
You know what I'm saying? But because we knew this, I mean, our whole team had big cars and all that. So like I told you before, like we seen it coming. We was all parked in a project behind each other in our cars, man.
Okay.
And when we look at him, like, man, we going down.
We was doing too much.
You know, we was too big for the city. Like
Right.
we was too big for the city. So
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
so you make the most money you've ever made that summer of '99, right?
yeah.
You see the feds start coming around. State cops stop touching you. Well, walk me through it. Like, all right, you see the feds. You start getting this feeling of like something's not right. The cops aren't messing with us. They're not trying to crack down on our people. We're making more money than ever. This is too easy. Like,
Yeah, like the thing is, like we started getting into little altercations with people and stuff. So it was weighing on me and him. Like, yo, we about to fall back.
Yeah.
Like we good. Like I'm gonna go buy a house in buy some land in North Carolina, build me a house, bring my ex-wife at the time, bring her down there, like with my daughter. You know what I'm saying? And we good.
right.
Like, you know,
There's no reason to keep doing this anymore. Yeah.
We started getting into real estate. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we was all right. You know what I'm saying? But they had another plan.
And that's why,
as you were exiting the game is when
because when they was following me, I already had stopped, scaled back, and we had stopped.
Oh, okay.
We end up stopping, right? So I wasn't tripping
You
about
weren't worried about it. Yeah.
them following me. But what I didn't know was they were just following me, making sure my every move.
Yeah.
So when they did decide to come and indict us,
They knew
they
exactly
know where I was at.
Yep.
I didn't know that at the time. I'm saying they trying to build a case against me. They ain't gonna build a case against me now. They should have been got me.
Mm-hmm.
Little did I know they already
had it.
They already had it.
They really didn't have no case.
They really had no case, but
Yeah, conspiracy.
whatever, conspiracy. Yeah. So
Okay. So towards the end of '99 is when they come in and they indict you?
him and two of my uncles get locked up on a gun violation and the feds pick it up.
Oof.
Yeah, I get caught with a weapon.
Okay.
Me and my uncles, we got weapons in the car, bulletproof vests.
And that was the trigger where I knew they were coming. Because
the feds picked up the case.
I went to his bail hearing. I went to his bail hearing in Bridgeport.
Federal court.
Right? Because I'm thinking he never been to jail before, nothing. He got a gun.
he's
Got caught with a gun. Get a bond. So me and my mother come in there. And the prosecutor goes, and here's another high-ranking member of the Jones organization, Your Honor. His name is Lyle Speedy Jones. And I'm like, what? What are you talking? Yeah, I walk in there. And I sit down. I'm like, oh my, what is going on here?
In the middle of court in front of everybody?
Yeah.
That's wild.
And then he never been to jail before. They don't know too much about him.
Right.
So at his bail hearing, they're mentioning everybody that's in our organization that did wrong, so they using that to not give him bond. You understand what I'm saying? So now I went to my lawyer. My lawyer said, they're coming. He said, they're coming. Sooner or later, they're going to come. That's what that's about. And they didn't give him a bond.
That's how the feds play. They play dirty. Those prosecutors, man.
So I was already done anyway. And that was like November. I got picked up in February. This is November.
Okay.
He just had a gun case. I got picked up in February. So they're following me. But they already had whatever they had, they was going to use.
They had it.
Yeah.
Okay, so he stays in custody those 3 months. At this point, you know the cases, like they're coming any day now. Like pretty much?
Well, yeah, pretty much. I'm thinking that because I'm still keep hope alive. I mean, you naive at the time. You like, man, they don't, what they come with, they trying to build a case. Because I know I didn't sell hand to hand. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Can't nobody tell you who my connect was. You know, except him. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't.
Yeah, that's not happening.
So, and that's not happening. So I'm like, they're trying to build a case right now. You know, they might get some people to tell, whatever the case. But I don't know that if somebody say, yeah, we was selling XYZ for him, they can give me them drugs.
It's over. Yep.
We didn't know that. Had we known that,
it would have been different.
It would have been different. We thought we was doing something.
Man, we had
slick.
All the spy equipment and everything.
Everything.
Matter of fact, we went to Florida and bought the spy equipment back then.
Yeah, spy
in Fort Lauderdale.
No, we got
shop,
detectors. You couldn't come in my car.
No bugs.
You couldn't come in my car and you was bugged.
If that thing, if it vibrate and you don't answer your beeper, it was pagers back then, the Sky Pagers, or your phone, you know, the flip phone.
Flip phone.
Something
Tell them, turn your phones off, and then you hit them. And if you buzzing, that means you wired. Yeah, so it wasn't, we was, little did we know.
Yeah, you were
veterans. They didn't even need none of that.
Yeah, playing any games.
Yeah, we wasn't.
Okay, so February hits. So we know how you ended up getting arrested. Tell me about February. What were you doing that day? Like, what happens?
Okay, in February, that night, they came to my parents' house, the state and the feds. They was looking for me, and they said that they was looking for me for a murder that happened. The state, it was in the state.
A murder.
It was a murder. They was charging me for the state. And they hit my father's house looking for me. And when my father called me, he was like, listen, go turn yourself in, man. Because the way they came in here, they trying to kill you. That's what he's saying, right? And I'm like, for what? They saying it's a murder. So he called down there. He's like, yeah, he's charged with first-degree murder. And the court said at $1 million bond. That's how it works in Connecticut. Like, they have bail, you already have it. Before you even get down there, they already know what it's going to be.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, man. So this is at night. So I'm going to go turn myself in because I know I didn't do that murder. The murder they was charging me for, I know I didn't.
Had nothing to do with it. Yeah.
Nothing to do with that, right? But so I'm going to turn myself in the following day, right? And that morning, I wake up, my picture's on the front page of the paper. Wanted for murder, this, that, and the third. So I called my lawyer. In the mix of me calling my lawyer to try to get to, they hit my cousin's. I'm at my cousin's house. Yeah. And they came in there. They bum rushed the feds and the feds and the state and all of that.
Together.
Yeah, together. In the back of my mind, I thought it was just for the murder. And I was hoping it was just for the murder. So when they came to me and they said, listen, yeah, we're taking you over here to get you arraigned. No, they said, Monday we're going to arraign you on this murder charge.
Right.
But right now we're taking you to federal court to get you arraigned on drug charges. And I'm like, what? And that was the last time I was out. That was February 24th, 2000.
You remember the date?
No question.
You gotta remember that date. Huh?
24th. We're in February. Oh, shit. We're in February. That's crazy.
2000.
Almost to the day.
Yep.
That's crazy. Okay. Do they keep you guys separated?
No.
They put you guys together?
Pre-trial, we was together.
Well, I was in county for the first 6 months. They went up to Rhode Island first.
Okay.
And then once all indictments came, I think about a month later, I went up there with them.
Yeah.
I was with them.
All right.
Yeah.
So you guys are together. So that's March, right?
Mm-hmm.
March. This is March of 2000?
Yeah.
March of 2000.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys are together. What are the lawyers telling you at this point? Like once you guys are both in there, like how's it looking?
Well, the lawyers is telling us that we're looking at 10 years to life. Right?
That's a big range.
We was just charged with one count, right? Conspiracy to sell crack, conspiracy to sell cocaine, and conspiracy to sell heroin.
Okay.
All under one count, which is unheard of because usually they say count one, conspiracy to sell crack, count two, conspiracy. They said count one, conspiracy to sell 50 grams or more, 1,000 grams or more, and 5,000 grams or more. All that charge was 10 years, mandatory 10 years to life. So we like, man, they bluffing, because we don't know the feds. We don't know how the feds is.
Right, of course.
So we saying, man, they can't give us 10. We looking at 10 years.
Yeah.
We like, they can't give us 10 years.
What I said when I first came there.
He said he ain't taking 5
Because they was around, in Rhode Island, they was around some people that was coming back from court from the feds.
Right.
Right? And when I came back from the city, they're like, you'll cop out the test? I'm not taking 5. I'm like, I know they ain't got nothing. I'm not even taking 5 years. You tripping.
Yeah.
Little did I know.
We didn't know how the feds work.
Oh, man.
So our lawyers, are telling us. So we now, in my town, this is unheard of. Out of like 15 of us, 17 of us, 15 go to trial.
Right.
We go to trial. All of us go to trial.
Pick 12.
Oof.
So we saying, listen, speedy trial. What's up? What y'all trying to do? Y'all got us. Y'all got us. So now they putting all these different motions in the prosecutors, the government, all these different motions to try to get a delay. We push for them now. Take us to trial. So now they want to sever our cases.
Separate you guys.
Yeah, to sever our cases when we go to trial. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get people to turn on each other and all that.
Exactly.
We all holding strong. It's 15 of us. We going to trial. And
15 of you in the case.
Yeah.
It was about 17 on the case, but 15 of us went to trial, right?
Okay.
I think somewhere around there.
Yeah.
It was a lot of us went to trial.
All right.
Yeah, somewhere around there. But the majority of us went to trial.
You guys had never heard of like stories of the feds of like people going to never.
Listen, I had an uncle that did fed time. But he never told us how they played.
See, the thing
Unc,
is,
come
you gotta
on,
understand.
man.
No, you gotta understand something. In my town, right? If you wasn't like a Latin king or something like
Yeah,
that,
they
like
didn't
they
get
got
it.
life sentences,
Yeah.
but they was tearing the whole city up.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
So allegedly.
Right. Allegedly.
But so that's what we saying. Listen, them the only people that we heard of that getting life sentences and
By the
stuff of
feds
that
and all that,
magnitude.
yeah,
yeah.
Drug
Gang
dealers that went to the feds, they come home 5 years, 10 years, which is a long time.
It's still
10
a long
years is a
time.
long time.
Yeah.
You know, we never heard of people getting life sentences just for drugs.
For drugs, yeah.
At that time, they was tearing Bridgeport up. Like we was the first major crew, drug crew, to go to trial, and the majority of us, like 12 of us, all of us had life sentences.
Wow.
You know?
That's insane. Out of the 15, they give 12 of you life sentences?
It was, yeah, about, you had,
It was 9.
Because the 12 of you went to trial.
It was 12 of us that went to trial? 9 of us had life sentences, and I think
yeah, it was 9 of us had life sentences, and then
3 guys got less than life.
yeah.
But yeah, but they still got something stupid like 25 years.
Yeah,
27, 27 and 25.
That's ridiculous. Walk me through the trial. How long does the trial last?
They severed our
They
cases.
severed your cases.
They came back, they superseded me, and they hit me with violence. They hit me with a murder. They hit me with a conspiracy to get.
Yeah, because once you have conspiracy, they can tie you to anything. It's
Yeah,
it's
but
stupid.
they hit
It's
me with, actually,
retarded.
they hit us with RICO, racketeering.
Right,
They
right.
superseded me, hit me with RICO. So they hit me with RICO conspiracy, and conspiracy in drugs. You know, so and then they had all these other little stuff, tampering with witnesses, all this other
All
stuff.
that
they
stuff.
had.
Yeah.
You know, he just was.
I just had a drug count.
So they severed our cases.
The only reason they severed our cases is because they took my lawyer off. I was supposed to went to trial with 5 other of my co-defendants,
Okay.
but they took my lawyer off my case at our status hearing when we was going to set a date for trial or pick jury or something like that. They took him off my case right then and there, and that's how my case got severed out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So do your trials end at the same time, or do they go on? One goes on longer than the other?
No, I went.
He went by.
We had 5 that went before I went, and then that might have been like in November of 2001.
Okay.
2001, right? And I went like in July
2001.
2001.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same time, or you
No, like I said, they hit me. They had to go through the death penalty phase with us with Ashcroft, with the Attorney General, and all that type stuff. So we had my case. It was 6 of us, 7 of us that got hit with violence and RICO and all that, and I was one of them. So they severed our cases, and I was pre-trial for about 3 years.
Wow.
He was pre-trial for about a year and a half.
Almost 2 years.
Okay.
I was pre-trial for 3 years.
So July 2001, and you get sentenced to life.
In like December or something like that.
December.
January, one of them, yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I was pre-trial 2 years, and we had a hung jury.
Okay.
We had a hung jury in 2002, and then after that, they took us back to 2003.
So while he's still on pretrial, you're already serving your sentence?
Yeah, I'm in Florida.
He's in Coleman.
You're in Coleman. Coleman Medium?
Penn.
Penn. Okay.
1, yeah.
Penn
USP
1.
1.
Yeah, I was an orderly at Penn 2.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
That place looks like a graveyard, boy.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're on pretrial for 3 years while he's already serving his sentence in Penn 1 in Coleman, Florida.
Mhm.
Okay. Where are they holding you?
They holding me in Rhode Island.
Rhode Island.
In Wyatt, yeah.
Okay. So the trial finally comes around 3 years later?
2 years. We had a hung jury, then they took us to trial again.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And that was, what year was that?
2002, 2003.
2002, 2003.
Yeah.
Okay. And then obviously you're serving your sentence and you're hearing about everything that's going on with him, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Once they had the hung jury, I was like, man, they good.
Because we had a hung jury.
I said, they good, man.
Well, it was 11-1 in our favor. 11-1 our favor.
Wow.
And one person held out. And the reason why, because the murder I told you about that they arrested me for, they used that in the feds. The feds actually
course.
took it from the state.
Of course.
And
Whatever excuse to win.
yeah, so and they had me. I was actually at a family reunion when the murder took place, right?
Right.
So they didn't know that. The feds didn't know that. So I had a face. So now they putting this whole case on. You got 5 people from my project saying how I stood over a dude and emptied the clip out on him, and me and another guy.
Lying their ass off.
Exactly. So I get to put my defense on, and my defense is, look, at 12 o'clock, what was it, 12 o'clock midnight, I'm checking into a hotel in Fayetteville, North Carolina. 1 o'clock midnight, I'm checking into Fayetteville, North Carolina. The guy got killed like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Impossible. I have phone records. I have videotape. The hotel got me on so I had all of that.
Right.
So when I show the jury, look where he's at.
Yeah.
All these people up here lying, even cops, saying they see me out there earlier that day. How can you see me out there earlier when I'm in Fayetteville, North Carolina? So now we get the jury is like, what's going on here? Like, so if they're lying about that, and
What
that's
else could they be lying about?
What else could they be lying about? So we had a hung jury. So now when they take us again, they dismiss that count. They
start playing the game. Yeah.
So now it's easy to convict on a drug conviction. I mean, a drug case.
Right.
A drug charge. Drug conspiracy is easy. You get 5 people saying I sold drugs for him, they convict you.
That's it.
But when you start talking about violence, ballistics, everything has to go according to how.
It has to be evidence, yeah.
Exactly. Forensics is. Was he shooting with his right hand? Was he left hand? Where was the casings found? So if you're lying about that, how?
What else could you be? Yeah, exactly.
So when they take that away, now they just start mentioning drugs and little stuff.
Yeah.
It's easy to convict.
Are you still facing a life sentence?
Yes. I got 3 life sentences. I got convicted of RICO conspiracy, and drugs.
And what the RICO came from, like, just other acts of violence. Saying.
It was just other acts of violence. See, the RICO, they said, it was things that I wasn't even charged with that they put into the racketeering count.
Right.
They just put in there. Like if I beat somebody up or if I shot, they say I shot somebody.
Yeah.
They didn't even have to charge. They didn't even have to prove it. They just had to mention it. And then if I lost on that charge, they'd bring it up during sentencing, which was crazy.
It's ridiculous. The feds play a dirty game.
Dirty game.
You got to see, you had 5 people say that he killed a guy. 5 people with the same story.
Same story.
How they get that? How they get that? You know what I'm saying?
The feds told them to say that.
Exactly.
They gave him a
Feds told them
story.
to say that.
You understand what I'm saying?
Ridiculous.
So now you take, in my project and in my town, they know who we are. So they say that's their block. That's where they hustle at. They know what color bags we sell. They know what brand we sell.
Right.
So I had 80 witnesses on my trial. About 30 of them I never seen a day in my life. So what happens
Sounds like a Fed case.
So what happens is they go in, dudes in jail, they sit back, they be like, oh, man, they was doing this, doing that. So they know we was out there between 96 and 2000 or 99.
Right.
Oh yeah, they gave me some work. They gave me some work and I sold drugs for them. What kind of drugs did you sell? Oh, I sold this blue bag, I sold Most Wanted, I sold this.
Right.
The same thing that everybody else is saying. So it looked like they're telling the truth. But everybody in the town knows what we're doing.
Exactly.
So people was just jumping on our case and going home.
Yeah, what did your lawyer say?
So what my lawyer did, my lawyer's cross-examining the guy, right, that we caught in a million lies. He said, listen, did you see that sign outside the courthouse? And the dude said, what are you talking about? So I'm like, what are you talking about? He said, that big sign outside the courthouse. Everybody said, no, we don't see no sign outside the courthouse. He said, y'all mean to tell me nobody seen that sign outside the courthouse? Just tell on Speedy and I can go home? And the judge said, they said objection and all that. And it was crazy in there because that's what it was like. It was like these guys was talking up. Man, I had one guy come up there and say that I sold him grenades. Now, mind you, right? You hear stories about this.
Iraq?
You hear stories about,
Tripping.
like even if the feds too, like, man, dudes had grenades. I said, listen, I never once on the news heard of a grenade going off in the United States. So miss me with all that. Dudes got grenades, throwing them and all that. That would be big news.
Right.
So people say that. So a grenade, they was just getting up there saying anything.
Right.
He sold me $1 million worth of counterfeit money. Nobody else said that.
Yeah.
Who sells counterfeit? I don't sell no counterfeit money.
I sell drugs, bro.
That's what I said.
I sell drugs.
But they was coming up with all kinds. It was. So that's why my lawyer said what he said. You know,
man, it definitely sounds like a federal trial though, because they
you know how it is, right?
Circus. It's a dog and pony show. All right, so you get convicted of life. You get convicted, sentenced to life. Do they ship you from Rhode Island down to Florida? No. Okay.
We had separate T's on us. So they shipped me I went to USP Lee in Lee County.
Lee County?
That was Virginia. Yeah, it just had opened up. There was
Okay.
another jail that just opened up.
All right. So you become aware that he loses, he gets sentenced to life,
Yeah.
that he gets shipped to Virginia. Is there ever a point where you guys try to come together, like no?
They wouldn't let us.
Mm.
They wouldn't let us. And we didn't even know they put separate T's. Like the prosecution, they were so vicious, man. They put a separate T's on me and my brother and the rest of my family. Just my family. We couldn't be around each other.
That's ridiculous.
The whole time I couldn't be around him my whole time in prison.
That's ridiculous.
Couldn't write or nothing. Only way I could write them was I write my mother or my parents, and then they'd send a letter to them, and vice versa. But they wouldn't let us for no reason.
That's the most, man.
But they wanted people to get weak, you know what I'm
course.
saying? And then they wanted, people to start talking about some other stuff.
And they wanted to punish you guys for going to trial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
So they sent me way to Florida.
They want to make an example out of you. They do that to everybody. Everybody that goes to trial, it's like, yo, we're going to make an example out of this guy. Don't go to trial. You sign your plea. You take your time.
That's what they gave us. They gave everybody they gave life sentences to. The majority of my life sentences to. So now when they go snatch some other people up in Bridgeport, Connecticut, first thing they don't think about is, man, them dudes got life, and they fold.
Yep.
And this is how they played that game.
100%.
Yep.
That's exactly how they scare other people.
See what happened to the Joneses. You want it to happen to you?
Exactly. All right, so you're serving your time separately.
Right.
Are you guys submitting appeals for the life sentence, all that stuff?
All day.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So where this is the first time in the story that I kind of have to go two separate ways. So what's time like after you guys both know, all right, we're in our prisons, we got a life sentence. What's it like in Coleman for you? Do you get a chance to work your way down at any point? Like to the medium or the low?
Eventually.
How long did that take?
But I left Coleman. I did from 2002 to 2008. So I did 6 years.
Did 6 years in Penn 1.
In Penn 1, yeah.
Fuck.
It had just opened up. Actually, all the blocks weren't even open yet when I got there. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. And, going there, like, my thing was, like, I got to fight my case. But at that time, like, you know what I'm saying, I started getting more spiritual. Like, not, you know what I'm saying, my religion is Islam, so I'm Muslim. So I started, like, we was raised, so we was raised that way. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, pretty much, right? So I started coming back to...
Your father was
My father's Muslim.
He was Muslim.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, he was Muslim.
Cool. Okay.
So, we raised upon it, but, like, as we got older, we strayed away. You know what I'm saying?
And then obviously prison always brings you closer to God.
Absolutely. And, it's a mercy. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's a blessing. Like, he put you in a certain place where you got to call on him now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what happened. So I started, even before I got my time, I started coming to it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I started praying and fasting and reading my Quran and stuff and just getting more spiritual. So when I got to Coleman, I continued to do that. But I already had that resolve in me, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't doing no life sentence. I ain't tripping. You know what I'm saying? So I continued to fight. They kept shooting me down, continued to fight.
That's faith, boy. When you get a life sentence and you're like, man, I'll be all right.
Yeah, but
That's
you have
faith.
some people that can't handle it. They come in and they start getting high or they start messing with boys or whatever. They might start doing certain stuff, right?
By the way, just for the record, whoever wants to hear this, if you mess with boys in prison, you like boys, period. Period. It's like, oh no, jail gay. No, it's gay.
Ain't no such thing. Ain't no such thing.
Don't give me that shit.
Ain't no such thing.
Anyway, so you're getting closer to God.
Yeah, so and then, so the people, like a lot of the, like, people in the institution be like, man, like they used to, like, admire the way I used to carry myself because I didn't stress about nothing. You know, so they didn't know I had a life sentence because I'm playing ball, I'm reading, I'm studying, I'm learning my religion, I'm fighting my case. You know what I'm saying? And I'm smiling because I know, like, yo, every day gonna be a good day. I ain't tripping. I'm here for a reason. I'm gonna make the best of it.
That's a beautiful thing.
And eventually I'll make it out. And that's how I carried it.
That's a beautiful thing.
You have days when you might go through it with your girl or whatever. That's normal.
It's so refreshing to talk to somebody like you that was sentenced to life in Penn 1 with some of the most notorious criminals in America. Yeah. And you're like, I'm not tripping, bro. I'm not gonna do life. And like you have a smart, like to be able to carry yourself in the face of that type of adversity, like a man, 10 toes down.
I was young.
I
was like 27 when I hit Penn 1.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So, and that's I've never been anywhere, and they send me straight to a United States penitentiary. But I'm a man. I stand on man principles, and I'm respectful. You know what I'm saying? Certain things I don't go for, I'm not gonna go for.
Right.
And certain things I'm not gonna violate. I'm not gonna violate you in no type of way. I'm gonna respect you.
Exactly.
And I'm gonna demand respect back. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it go. You know.
All right. So it looks like you built a pretty good routine. You're fighting your case. So what's it like for you when you first get in Virginia?
Mine was a little different approach. Mine was a little different than his. Like I was mad at the world when they gave me 3 life sentences.
Wow. Okay.
Like I'm mad.
Like the polar opposite reaction to him.
Yeah, I'm mad. So I'm like, I'm on my way to USP Lee, and I'm thinking of a way how I can get more money. Continue to do the same thing that landed me in there. I'm trying to go to jail before I get out of jail. Again, that's what I'm trying to do. That's what, and I'm gonna be honest with you, that's what was happening. So that's why I say God works in mysterious ways. So when I get to USP Lee, it was a guy from my projects that was there. And when I see him, like, it's probably like 5 Connecticut guys there. The rest is DC, North Carolina, New Orleans, Florida, right? And I see him. And I'm like, oh, I was so happy to see him. He's like, yo, I'm moving you in my cell tomorrow. I'm like, good. So, he moved me in his cell, and he's Muslim. So when he come to me, he like, yo, we got to pray. I'm like, man, I'm not praying. I'm not praying, man. He said, you Muslim. Like, I'm Muslim, but, I'm praying. I'm doing me right now. You know what I'm saying? And he stayed in my ear, and I watched him. He stayed in my ear. So about 2-3 weeks, it was a couple. He keep telling all the Muslims in the block, yo, he's Muslim. So they'd come to me, hey, Assalamu alaikum, Aki, and I, we do all that, right? And they stayed in my ear, right? We play Scrabble, and they was like, man, come up to Office a lot. Because they used to pray in my room, because I had a big room. So I'll be outside waiting for them to pray. Then I go in there and pray on my own. You know what I'm saying? And they was like, man, yo, listen. And they stayed in my ear. Eventually, I gave in. And when I gave in wholeheartedly, man, it made my time. Listen, I was doing hard time, trying to, and when I gave in wholeheartedly, like in the brotherhood that we had, and it was just something about that. I seen doing time totally different after that. I was at ease with doing time. I mean, it still hurt because I had family out in the, my mother, my father, they was getting older. I had kids. I had 5 kids. But it was like, okay, whatever Allah decrees, whatever God decrees, it's going to be it. And I always, and I remember my brother, he had wrote me, man. And I don't know if you remember, he had wrote me through my mother, and he wrote me. And he said something that stuck with me. He was like, yo, even if we never get out, he said, I would rather us die in a state of belief than a state of ignorance.
Wow.
Bruh, continue on your deen so you can repent. Inshallah, we get out. But if we don't, repent for the sins that we committed while we was in the street, because we was tripping, and that stuck. And I'm like, yeah, you right. If I never get out, why would I continue to sin in jail and I'm never going to get out? And I believe in the hereafter. We Muslim. So why would I continue to keep building up these sins? No, I better get in there and pray with the brothers, get all the benefits of being Muslim, all of that. And that's what I did. And it became, and Allah showed us, God showed us mercy. Eventually we was released.
That's a beautiful thing, man. I'd rather die in prison with belief than live on the street.
I'm saying the prisoner of the hellfire never get released. You know what I'm saying? You become a prisoner of the hellfire, you ain't getting out.
Yeah.
This world gonna end soon. So whether you're in jail, whether y'all here, death gonna hit us all.
Can't escape it.
Can't escape it. So why not do what's right?
That's beautiful, man. So, okay. So through the process of fighting your case, when is it, I don't know if it happens separately or at the same time, when is the first time you guys kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel? Well,
I had got a light in 2008, was it? I had my life sentence ended up getting reduced to 27 years.
Okay.
In
all right.
We're still like a life sentence, but
yeah, but still, it's not life. I got a number. There's a number now,
You know what I'm saying? So that happens for me then, but I still had a ways to go when that happened. But I was grateful. I
Yeah.
mean, man, I can see it's light at the, like you said, it's light at the end of the tunnel. I
Right.
can see the light now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think I was 08 or no, might have been I think I got sentenced in 08.
So
But the
at that
law
point,
came out in like
you had
05,
been doing like
06.
8 years at that point?
Yeah, total, yeah.
Yeah.
About
Okay.
8 years, yeah.
And what about yourself?
No, I stayed. They didn't. The same thing. They reduced his time to 27 years. They kept me. They shot me down.
Life.
Yeah,
Okay.
because he didn't have a record in anything. Like I had.
And you did.
I
You had priors.
did a little bid from New York,
Right.
and then they had hit me with violence. I had violence on my.
Okay.
My
All right. So obviously you keep fighting your case. So you said that's in 08.
Right.
Okay. You don't have a shot of going down in levels, right? Like you don't have a shot of going down from the pen to medium. You can't do that.
I have to do. They made me do
10 years, right?
No, they say 10 years behind the wall. So I end up doing like 12 years, about 12 years in the pen,
Okay.
and then I went to medium.
Okay.
Even though I still had a life sentence, they let me.
They let you
to
go down to medium.
Yeah.
And what about
Yeah, I went to South Carolina, Edgefield.
Edgefield? Yeah.
Edgefield, yeah. I went there
I have friends that went to Edgefield.
in 08. I went there in 08. Yeah,
Okay. To a medium.
to a medium.
Oh, so you're Virginia, South Carolina, you guys were a little
That
close.
made it easier for my parents, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
Because
so
they was going
close.
way to Florida, then they was going way
No,
to...
actually, when he went to Edgefield,
Oh, man, they shipped you the other
no,
way,
I
didn't
went to Canaan. I was USP Canaan.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I left Lee County
funny.
and I left Lee County USP Lee.
I have a good
and
friend of mine that was at the camp in Canaan.
I left USP Lee in 2008, and then I went to Canaan.
Oh, so in 2008, you both got
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So I went to Canaan. Because I just wanted to be closer to home because it was in Pennsylvania.
Right.
So I wanted to be closer to home.
Okay. All right. So
No, but a Canaan was like a medium high. It wasn't a medium
No.
at the time, right? It was a medium when you went?
No, it was a pen.
A pen, yeah, it was a pen.
It was a medium, and they turned it to a pen, so
Yeah.
we opened it up. So they closed the jail in Lewisburg. When they closed Lewisburg, they brought all the Lewisburg guys there. They brought buses from Hazleton, buses from Big Sandy, but buses from everywhere was opening up Canaan as a pen.
I would ask if you guys kind of like had a rep in there, but in the pen you're with the big boys. Those are like everybody's got a rep in there.
No, see, me, I was Muslim, right? So I had even in the pen, because I ended up becoming the imam there
Okay.
in Coleman. And then it was always a respect thing, you know what I'm saying? I was, respectful, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, I respected everybody, they respected me, they respected the community. And we dealt with our own,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like if the Muslims get out of pocket, the Muslims will deal with the Muslims. If,
Right.
If guys from Florida or DC
Yeah,
or North
all
Carolina, people, like when it came to the Muslims, they would handle their own. You know what I'm saying? Like we end up getting this certain things because sometimes you got, certain brothers that be into certain stuff
Right.
and it cause the community to crash, but we try to avoid that as much as possible. As far as with me though, I never had any issues because I always, it was a respect.
Gave
thing.
respect.
Yeah.
Demanded respect, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about you? Is there
I had
a
quite
couple
a few.
scuffles?
He got anger issues.
No, it's see me. Even though I treated everybody fair, I never disrespected nobody, But when you're dealing with people from different areas,
Yeah.
right? Things they say out of their mouth
Are acceptable to some people.
to them,
Mm.
but not from where I come from. If you invite me to your private parts, I'm taking off on you right then and there. It ain't no why you did this, why you did that. I'm taking off on you right there. You understand what I'm saying? If you steal from me, I'm coming to see you. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's just certain things I hold dear. So I had, I like to play sports. And so basketball, basketball.
Right.
I like to watch sports. So sometimes TV dude coming in, they might just turn the TV on you. Why I'm watching that. Man, listen, we watch this at a certain time. I'm like, what? And things transpire to that
Yeah,
nature.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? And me, I had an issue. I had a problem dealing with stuff like that. Like I couldn't say, well, you right, man. Now I have grown. As years later, like that was earlier in my.
It took a minute. It took a minute.
Because I'm just coming from. This is in the beginning of my bed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But as time went on, like I started, and an older dude told me, he said, listen, you got to learn to think for them. If not, you're gonna stay in the hole, stay in the shoe, trying to be tough. Think for them.
Right.
So sometimes if it ain't crazy, like you invite me to your private parts and you might just turn the TV. I'm like, yo, I was watching, yo, but I'm like, you right, youngin'. I'm out of here. See, I started growing up, but when I first came in, it was like, and they say, I'm light skinned. They think you think it's something sweet because you're light skinned. So I had a little chip on my shoulder. Being from Connecticut, a lot of people didn't hear of Connecticut. They think,
Yeah.
So it was like,
Connecticut, you think of the snow and the white people and
yeah. So they don't know how Connecticut really, certain
Bridgeport,
parts,
yeah.
Bridgeport, Hartford, New Haven is, so.
Okay, all right. So at one point, so he gets 6 years in, he gets, that first little reduction, 27 from life. Is there at any point in your bid where you kind of see the first little bit of hope where you're fighting your case?
I had received in 2000, they had transferred me to Gilmer. I was in Gilmer in West Virginia. I went to go have a knee operation up there.
Okay.
And while I was there, we was on lockdown and a letter came up under the door. And it was a lawyer saying that I potentially can get some type of relief for the First Step Act. They can't promise me nothing. But I done seen stuff like that all the time, right? But they said, if you want me to take your case, contact us at this number.
First Step Back, but that's like 2016?
No, 19.
19.
Oh my God.
2019.
Wow.
So that's 2019.
19.
Okay. So that's the first time you ever saw any glimmer of hope.
Any glimmer.
Where
I mean, I put stuff in. I thought I had a good shot, but
Right,
they
right.
always shoot me down.
It always gets
But
denied.
anything, but even then, I didn't. I'm like, so I got on the phone. I called my mother. I'm like, yo, we got off a lockdown. I called my mother, and she like, I said, did they holler at LT? Anybody? She said no, because I was the first one they contacted. Just sent the letter. They didn't get around to everybody else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, so I'm still like, but then they called. Then I end up calling him, and I said, yeah, I want you to take my case. Then he ended up getting it. Then a couple of my other co-defendants end up getting the letter. And I'm like, okay, it might be some, it might. And then
you were still in too, right? At this
Yeah, I was
point?
in.
Okay.
Mhm.
How much of the 27 had you served at that point?
This was in 19, so what I was in.
2019. So
Yeah.
you had served 20. Both of you had been in for 20
Yeah.
years.
20 years,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you get go. All right. So go ahead.
So I get the letter, and guy named Lewis Reed, good friend of Eon's. You know what I'm saying? He was in.
Okay.
So
okay.
Lewis Reed, he was out here. Me and him was locked up in Raybrook together
Wow.
in New York. And he went home and he was working with Van Jones, Kim Kardashian, and all them. And he emailed me. And he was like, bro, I'm getting ready to get you home off this First Step Act. But I'm like, man, you know what I'm saying? Okay, maybe he just talking. But now I'm looking at the news and I hear Van Jones talking about the First Step Act. And it's gaining momentum. It's gaining momentum. So now they give me a date. They give one of my other co-defendants a date. And they give him a date
Okay.
to come before a judge. Right? The same year. I was scheduled for August, like 2 days after him. He was like the end of August, 2 days after him. Then I had a co-defendant that was scheduled in June. My co-defendant went first in June and he went home. But he only had 25 years. They didn't give him a life sentence like me.
And all he had was crack.
And all
too,
he
right?
had was crack. We was sentenced under heroin and crack. So it was a crack first
That's
step.
why they did that. Yeah.
So the First Step Act was the crack disparity, the cocaine and crack disparity and all that stuff, right? But we was charged with all this heroin, So I'm like, man, I don't know if they're going to let me go. But then they let my brother, then he went and they let him go.
Wow.
They let him go. So now I'm like, and now I was in Brooklyn. I'm on my way to get resentenced. I'm in Brooklyn when I find out.
And he gets released?
Yeah, I call home. And soon my brother, my younger brother, he picked up. He said, yo, he's home. He's home. He's coming out. We waiting for him to come out right now. And I'm like, yes. Now, but I got 3 life sentences. He had 27 years. So at this time, I'm saying maybe I can get 30, 35 years. Can you imagine that? I'm hoping that I get 30 years. But it beats a life sentence.
A life sentence.
I'm like, maybe worst case scenario, if he can give me 30, 35 years, I can go to a camp. I can do this. I'm saying all this in my head. And I end up going to court, having a hearing, and how they let him go the same day that he went in front of the judge. Me, the judge said, okay, I'm gonna take my time and I'm I'll let you know what I'm gonna do. He sent me back to the jail, and he waited like a month before they actually released me.
Wow.
Yeah. They called up there and told me that I had
So what day did you get out?
August 27th, 2019.
2019.
August 27th.
My birthday is August 11th.
and I got out October 8th, 2019.
Like 5 weeks after.
What was it like seeing each other?
Because, I ain't seen him in 18 years. It was 18 years. And how it was, like, I surprised him.
He surprised
Like,
me.
my brother, the one that's out there, I called him. I'm like, yo, I made it look like my PO, because I was living in North Carolina. I got released in North Carolina. That my PO was like, I couldn't leave, but I see you, I catch up with you. Because when I talked to him when he was home, I said, I'll catch up with you. So then I called my younger brother, and I was like, listen, man, she gonna let me come, but I ain't got no money. I just got out, right? He said, nah, I'm gonna pay for it, take the flight. I said, all right, you know what I'm saying? So don't nobody know. My mother, nobody know that I'm coming. So they got the big old, coming home event. I ain't gonna say party. It was like a nice little event for him at this spot downtown. And once I get there, my little brother got me on live. So I didn't even know nothing about Facebook Live, right? He got me on live.
What else changed in 20 years?
I'm getting out of the Uber driver coming from the airport or whatever to the place, and I'm walking in, and everybody going crazy when they see me because nobody knew I was coming. Like all my family in there and all that, they know I was coming. And when I seen him, me and him both, we just hug, man, and break down crying.
And I'm in the back. I just hear all this ruckus. I'm in the back eating oxtail and white rice. I'm like, yo, I got some oxtail. So I'm in the back eating. I hear, hey, oh my God. And I'm like, yo, what's going on over here? Like, and then I see him. And it was like, I just dropped the oxtail and I'm walking and he's walking. And we walk to each other and we embrace.
Yeah.
And we start crying.
Yeah,
My mother start crying. You know what I mean? Because they know how close we was. It's different when you have somebody that's 10 years older. We was close in age.
Yeah.
Close in size, everything. So we grew up together like that. When you mention me, you mention him. You be like Speedy and LT.
Always.
Always. Never LT and Speedy. It's always Speedy and LT.
Speedy and
Let's
That's why I
get
got the license.
But that's what it was. So it was like, so when we got it on tape and everything. It's on YouTube and all that. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy though.
Okay.
It was a good feeling though. It was that was one of the best. Other than my kids being born and stuff, that was one of the best feelings.
You talking about somebody you ain't seen, ain't heard from
18 years.
in 18 years. Like, you know what I'm saying? Your brother. You know what I'm saying? Your main man. I don't understand how family beef.
Yeah.
Especially with your siblings. I don't understand
same.
that.
I'm the same.
There ain't no amount of money, ain't no amount of, I don't understand that.
There's people out there who don't have any family and they wish they could have a family member to count on, So
I mean, people that slept in the same bed, people that struggled together, people that came from the same womb.
Yeah.
How can you go 6 months to a year without even checking up on them?
Yeah.
Yeah. It makes no sense to me.
It don't make no sense.
I don't understand that.
Me neither.
Everybody
never
been
grew up-
raised different.
Yeah.
So, but I don't understand that.
So you guys are finally reunited. What's kind of like the plan at that point? I mean, obviously at that point you're just happy to see each other, but like how much time passes before you're like, all right, what are we gonna do with our lives? Like at this point.
Well, he living in PA.
Okay.
He's married.
Pennsylvania.
He was married at the time. I was married at the time, but I was living between Florida and North Carolina.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And so we had like different lives. I was working, he was working. We
I
had
was working
jobs.
at FedEx.
And then when COVID hit, like we started, like I lost my job or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So then we started thinking like, yo, I was only gonna work for a minute anyway. We had a plan, we gonna do something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We ain't know what it was, so we was gonna start the trucking business. And that's what we did at first. Like we started a trucking business. But before that got underway, he ended up finding a spot where we ended up starting a restaurant.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And that's how we started that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
All right. What was that after during the pandemic or after?
We opened up the restaurant in 20, right?
20 during the pandemic.
Yeah, at the height of the pandemic, right? But it did good because we got our chef, who's our cousin. She's part owner too. She's a beast.
Yeah.
I mean, she's like that. Not like that, like that, for real, with the food, right? And she already had a following and everything. So it just made sense
To bring her in.
to bring, you know what I'm saying, to make it happen. You know what I'm saying? And then we hit the ground running.
The ground running. And from that on, I have a sports restaurant. You know, me and my other brother got a sports restaurant. We have an event space. You know, we have a trucking company. Like we just,
That's the mindset.
It's mindset. But also we have a great team. And I have brothers and I have other family members that I trust with my life. I don't got to worry about my brother beating me out of some money or backdooring me about something.
Integrity, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Integrity.
So, and when you got a good team, it's not a burden on one person. Everybody knows they role. Everybody plays their position. We all eat.
See, that's why you see my shirt.
Cream team.
Cream team, right? This is my brand, right?
I love it.
Right?
I love it.
It stands for, like, you know, confident, resilient, educated, ambitious mindset. You got to have them type of people around you. We always got to share the same mindset. You know what I'm saying? We got the same vision. And when you put it together, man, it makes things happen. Now, we have ups and downs. Like, you know, in businesses, you got highs and lows.
100%.
But you got to be resilient with it. You know what I'm saying? And you got to have that drive. And it works. But when you got a team that's on the same page, it makes everything easy, man.
Guys, this has been phenomenal. Way better than I could have ever dreamed. You guys, this story, you know, and it's not over. You know, that's the beautiful part.
That's the beginning.
So I usually like to end all my podcasts asking a couple questions. So the first one I would ask is typically what's next for you, but I see you guys are doing well. You got the businesses going, the event spaces, the restaurants. More of that I would assume in the future, right?
No, our main goal now is we have a foundation, nonprofit, 501(c) that my dad started nearly 40 years ago.
Okay.
Called Save Our Babies.
Right.
And we mentoring these kids.
That's our
these youth.
focus right now, yeah.
Our focus is getting the young men not to make bad choices. You know what I'm saying? So we got them. Like, we have every Monday we meet with them now. We have somebody come speak to them and we work them out. You know what I'm saying? We just trying to give them a safe place to be and to give them a vision. You know what I'm saying? And be that role model for them, or that male figure, because a lot of them come from single mother homes, you know what I'm saying? No father in their life. So nobody's trying to replace their dad, but we trying to be that male figure for them. You know, to see, like, yo, you can make it, man. Like, and when you got a pocket, yo, we gonna hold you accountable. We're not gonna disrespect you, but we gonna check you. We gonna hold you accountable. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, yo, you could do better. We don't want you to make the same choices we made, the same mistakes we made, and go through what we went through. You got a chance, you know what I'm saying, to overcome whatever obstacles in your way. Just stay focused. Sometimes you need that drive, somebody to give you that push. And we just trying to give them that push.
I love that, man. That's beautiful. How do you guys want to be remembered?
How you want to remember?
I want to be remembered as a person that's not perfect, but tried to strive for perfection. A person that's not perfect by far, but striving for perfection. And somebody that the kids can look up to, and my kids can look up to. Because what we missed out on 20 years.
It's a long time.
20 years. And we caused havoc in our community. Caused havoc. We sold death. We carry guns. You know what I'm saying? So our whole thing is to get back to the community that we did that to, and just and help out and make it better. You know, and hopefully, God willing, hopefully, you know, somebody can look up and say, listen, he went through all of that. Look where he at now. You know? And that's what, you know, so I just want to remember that as a person that wasn't perfect, but a person that's striving for perfection.
Life is interesting, right? Like, you can never attain perfection, but you see perfection in front of you all the time.
All the time.
In your daughter's smile, in your mother's hug, and in your father's advice. Like, that's perfect, right? Those things are perfect, but you can never, it's like you can't grab it, you can't touch it. So I totally get what you're saying. I love that. Do you guys believe in redemption?
Absolutely. And I believe in it so much, right? You know, now I'm contracted to go into the prisons as an imam, and I go to 2 different prisons now, and really pouring into these young men. You know what I'm saying? Letting them know, like, yo, once you get out here, you can make it. You know what I'm saying? Put God first. You know what I'm saying? Put God first and foremost, man. But it starts while you're in here. Use this place as a university. That's what we did. We used prison as a university. You know what I'm saying? It's like going to college.
Use it to get
5
better.
times, but it was like going to college.
Right.
But seriously, use it as, I mean,
Use it to get
spiritually,
better.
to gain knowledge, circular knowledge or whatever, you know what I'm saying? We got a restaurant and we knew how to do everything in a restaurant as far as like the maintenance part of it from working in prison.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We worked I worked in the kitchen. He worked in the kitchen. Like we know the temperatures of food and everything from being in prison. So I use it as a university for a lot of different things. But first and foremost, it was spiritual. You know what I'm saying? So and I try to tell them that, like, you know, because once you get out, it ain't hard to be successful out here. It just takes effort, man.
100%.
Just takes effort and patience.
Takes a lot of effort and a lot of patience. I
Yeah.
think that's something prison helped me with. It made me so patient. It made me realize things don't happen on your timetable.
Yep.
Right.
It happens on God's timetable, and his timing is perfect.
You just got to stay the course, though.
Yeah, 100%.
Stay the course.
100%. You guys believe you've redeemed yourselves?
I mean, you talking about for our past?
Just in general.
The thing is, like, you know, we fall short every day. For what we did back then, I feel we made amends for that, and we will continue to aid the community and make it better. But we fall short every day, and like I pray 5 times a day. You know what I'm saying? So at least 5 times a day. So well, he do too. So you know, whenever we fall short, we gonna bow our heads, bump our heads, man, and seek for forgiveness, man. Repent.
It's a beautiful
That's
thing.
how it is.
Guys, this was an amazing experience. It really was. I appreciate you guys. We'll connect again. You know, this is the start of a friendship.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. How can people connect with you?
Well, with me, you go to. I don't really do social media like that.
Okay.
I got a little Instagram page, Life After 20.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But and then we have like Save Our Babies website.
Okay.
It's www.saveourbabies.inc.org. You know what I'm saying? Then we have the Trifecta, which is our event space.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's the 215 Trifecta? The
Trifecta 215.
That's the IG.
That's the IG handle. Then we have Queen's Delight.
Cutie Cafe 130.
Yeah.
At gmail.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And then
that's the
you
email.
Also no social media for you, or just
on social media,
just on the business side.
Nah, they can-
Nothing Wait, I forgot.
They call me big. They call me big social.
Some things change. Some things remain the same.
Come on, man.
How can people follow you?
They can follow me at Jones Lyle Jr. on Instagram, and then just Lyle Jones on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty, guys. This has been another episode of Honor Among Thieves podcast with special guest Lyle and Lonnie Jones. You know, hell of a story. Not much else to say. Push it to the limit. The world is yours. If you're not chasing a dream, life is meaningless. Say goodnight to the bad guy. See you on the next one.
Peace.
Bro, that was amazing.
So say goodnight to the bad guy.
You looking at the bad guy. This the last time that you ever see a bad guy like me. You don't have the guts to be who you wanna be.